July 18th, 2008, we were treated to the sequel to Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, which is our movie for July in our Diamond Anniversary reviews, where we look back on 2008, pick a movie out from each month and talk about it, re-review it. Now, with this one, we're not going to re-review it as much as like give it a score like we traditionally have done with these Diamond Anniversary reviews. We're going to talk about, the first time we saw it, the last time we saw it, just the impact and the legacy of this movie. I know it kind of feels like it's been done over 100 times just talking about how great The Dark Knight is, but it's just that good.
It is.
So, Nate, let's just go back 10 years. The first time you saw it, like, what was your reaction? What was your anticipation going into it?
Well, I remember being very excited about The Dark Knight. I remember the hype around it, and I was sitting up north in Bel Air, Michigan, across from the theater that was showing the midnight showing. And I was sitting on a patio, and I was like, it's right there. I don't want to see it because I didn't want to see it that time because that theater was so crappy. Like, we're talking about the crappiest sound, the crappiest screen, not even stadium, all flat.
Oh,
so you're looking over people,
theater.
and it's packed in there, and I'm like, I don't care. I have to see this movie right now. And I walked across the street, and I went and saw it. And it blew me away. It really did. I left there so incredibly pleased, and probably the most pleased I ever have been. No movie has ever lived up to the hype this much.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird going in. I will admit that when I first heard the news about Heath Ledger being cast as the Joker, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, really? A Knight's Tale is going to be the Clown Prince of Crime? Like,
I don't. 10 Things I Hate About You is going to be the Joker.
Yeah, exactly. I rolled my eyes, but I did the exact same thing when they cast Christian Bale as Batman for Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to be as optimistic as I could, but then you saw that first trailer with him, and it's like, all right, well, here we go. They're really doing the Joker. They're kind of like reinventing it, taking it to the most extreme, and it looks like Heath Ledger's really diving into this character, and that's exactly what he did. The first time I saw it, that weekend I was going camping with some buddies, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be there in the morning. If you guys aren't ready to roll, I'm going to the theater.
Yeah.
If you guys are ready to roll, we'll go camping. And, of course, they weren't ready, so I went and saw it, and I came back, and I'm like, you guys ready? Because if not, I'm 100% going to turn around and go and see that movie again. Right there with you. I was blown away, and I think you perfectly said it. It's the movie that lived up most to the hype.
And exceeded it. I really, once again, this movie is held in such high regard. What can you say about this film that hasn't already been said? And it's been praised so much. So, personally, this is a movie that I've probably seen more than most movies.
Yeah,
I've watched this movie a lot. There was a stint when it came out on DVD that I just kind of put it on every night and almost fell asleep to it. I loved this movie so much, and I still do. So we just watched it recently again, and on a recent viewing and everything. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about some details of this movie and maybe even any flaws that we can see after seeing it so many times or after it's shown its age a little bit.
I don't think it really shows its age in any spots. As far as like flaws, there were some like little nitpicky flaws that. Just it's not that they stood out to me. It's just that you've watched it so many times over and over. First pass on this movie, you can't really pick those things out because you're so engaged with the story and the movie that's being presented to you. But there were some things that I also just noticed. As far as flaws, I think the themes and messages they try to get across in this movie are a little on the nose.
Okay.
Like the character who doesn't die as a hero and lives long enough to become a villain literally says you either die a hero or he kind of spells out his own fate. And I know there have been movies that have done that before, but like that one's like really hammering the point home.
Yeah.
So I just think with some of the themes that even though they are a little on the nose, that's what set this movie apart from other comic book movies. I mean, this really broke the mold, and I think taking itself not too serious or so serious, but more serious than previous comic book movies before.
Yeah.
And, really instilling those themes because, you can look back on some of the older comic book movies before this, they're entertaining, they're made of a certain quality, but very few of them, it's like, the heroes changed after what happened. It's not like the hero faced the challenge and overcame it. It's like, the hero faced the challenge, overcame it, and it left him damaged,
You're right, and it's something that audiences can really relate to so much because this is such a grounded version of any type of superhero movie, and it started with Batman Begins. I remember leaving Batman Begins being like, that's it. Batman can exist.
Right.
Like, he can be real if someone has enough money and enough drive to be a crazy person like this. And The Dark Knight sort of like kept the ball rolling in that theme that this is just such a well-realized world. And this movie is very dense. This is something I was really trying to examine, that like every little nothing's wasted. Every piece of dialogue comes back. Every single plot point makes sense. Everything. I love that they cover all their bases. There's not, I mean, you can get really nitpicky of like, you know, when you first see the Joker and you're just like, how did they all get through they went through and they had to drop all their guns off and everything. You know, how did he get in? Is he just sitting there? Like, whatever. It's still a superhero movie. And I think a lot of people need to consider that when watching this, being like, it does take itself seriously. It is a very serious look at like, you know, the superhero genre, but it still is a superhero movie. You still have to stretch your reality just a little bit for this film. Yeah. And that's what I try to do with it. I try not to get too nitpicky with it. But, yeah, there's some things here and there that I don't totally care for. And I think that one thing we should touch on is that you don't really like Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I do not.
Let's talk about Maggie Gyllenhaal. Let's talk about why.
Well, I don't like her as an actress in general. Now, don't mistake this for being like, they should have had Katie Holmes come back. Honestly, there's so many good female supporting characters, love interests, already existing within the Batman lore. That they created Rachel Dawes for these movies. And so I guess it's more of a fault of Christopher Nolan and David Goyer than anybody. But they created her character for this movie. And I just didn't really find her to be compelling. So I didn't like the character played by Katie Holmes in the first one.
Right.
And then we got this character just kind of recast with Maggie Gyllenhaal. So it's like you took a character that I didn't really like, and then you took an actress I didn't really like, and you put them together. So honestly, I would say that's my one complaint about this movie. You know, it's Maggie Gyllenhaal, but you know, her character gets killed, so there's a little satisfaction in that, a little morbid satisfaction.
Wow.
But I'm just saying, like you brought it up.
Yeah,
you brought up Maggie Gyllenhaal.
For this.
So
no, yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here wholeheartedly defending Maggie Gyllenhaal and the whole thing. I like.
She serves her purpose in the movie.
She does.
I'll say that.
One thing I think she adds to it that Katie Holmes couldn't in Batman Begins, and for lack of better words, I felt like Katie Holmes would have cheapened it a little bit more, while I take Maggie Gyllenhaal a little more seriously as an actress and a little bit more seriously as a lawyer. I don't see Katie Holmes as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Maggie Gyllenhaal plays a lawyer a little bit better, but I don't mind Maggie Gyllenhaal. The problem, a small regret that I have with this is I like Christian Bale, but I love the character of Bruce Wayne and Batman, and Christian Bale's Batman to me is a little bit too simplistic. He just wants a normal life. He just wants to go and be in love with Rachel Dawes. Like, to me, Batman's insane. He will never be able to hold a relationship. He'll never be able to do anything like that because he is a crazy person. He is equal to the craziness of the Joker. And for me, Christian Bale's is a little bit more of a surface level Bruce Wayne and Batman, while Michael Keaton's was certifiably insane. And that's what I liked about him.
Well, yeah, and that's something that Michael Keaton said that was his interpretation of the character. Like, once he really read the lore of Batman, he's like, this dude's nuts. He's like, if somebody really did this, they would be locked up for being an insane person.
Yeah.
So, I do agree with that, where, yeah, I will say Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is better, but I like Christian Bale's Batman better, as far as, like, his performance when he's under... You know, when he's in the cowl and he's in the suit. And I know everybody and their mom likes the gravelly voice.
It's not his fault.
No, yeah, Christopher Nolan's like, I did that.
Yeah.
I mix the sound on my films, not Christian Bale. Yeah. I augment his voice. And but Christian Bale, when he did his audition for Batman Begins, he did change his voice. Mm-hmm. Not like super gravelly like it comes out in the final film, but like more like how Kevin Conroy, when he did the voice for the animated series, how he did two distinct voices for Batman and Bruce Wayne. He brought that to
it's almost like octave levels were a little bit different, you know, a little bit lower for Batman.
Yeah, and also, you know, as far as the whole comparison thing, it might be a generational thing. I mean, Keaton's still my Batman, if I'm being
Keaton's my Batman.
As much as I love these movies, and I think that any one of these Nolan movies is better than any one of the original, even the first Burton Batman, it's Keaton. Keaton's my Batman.
Yeah, Keaton's my Batman as well. But Ledger's my Joker. Because
Jack Ledger is my Joker.
Yeah.
Or Heath Nicholson, however you want to put it. It's hard to pick. That's like a real Sophie's
They're
choice.
different Jokers.
They're different Jokers, but they're both equally great. I mean, obviously, Heath Ledger got all the praise for it. You know, and he won the Oscar for it. Mm-hmm. But I think that you couldn't have Nicholson's Joker without Cesar Romero's from the old television show. Yeah. And I don't think you could have Ledger's Joker without Nicholson's Joker doing it first.
Yeah.
So I just think it's definitely a more extreme performance.
Yeah, it's Ledger. he disappears. Still, for how many times I've seen this movie, I try so hard to see Heath Ledger, and I can't.
I don't know.
I can't see him, and I don't think I know of a performance off the top of my head that I can say that about besides his.
Right. I mean, outside of like, when they're, of course the makeup helps. So there are some roles I can think of that kind of come to mind, like Gary Oldman and Hannibal. They both had the aid of the makeup, but I think that Ledger's performance, you're right. I remember the first time seeing them in the theater watching it. I'm like, where's Heath Ledger? I can't see him. He's in all that makeup. Then it's just like, no, he's just lost in the character.
Yep, he's completely lost in the character. And that's one thing where, like, the Batman thing I say, this isn't Batman's movie. This is Joker's movie. Batman Begins is Batman's movie. Absolutely. I always find it like Batman Begins is his movie. This is the Joker's movie. The Dark Knight Rises is Gotham's movie. Like, that movie's about Gotham.
Yeah.
And so, but let's talk about just moving forward with superhero movies. This did change the game. Things will never be the same with superhero movies since this.
No.
Can you even think of a comic book movie that has the type of impact that this does?
No, absolutely not. Not only did it impact superhero movies into being considered as a true craft of artwork. Not only a great superhero movie, it's just a great movie in general.
Yeah, this is filmmaking at its finest.
Right, and outside of a few movies beforehand, like even a movie that came out a couple years before it, Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Great comic book movie, great popcorn fun, but nobody considered it as like a serious, like this could get acting awards type movie. And also its impact on the movie landscape in general. Just everything started to go dark and gritty like Nolan did with Batman, and sometimes it worked, but a lot more often than not, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work, but we would never get movies like Logan without the Dark Knight.
We wouldn't have Deadpool without the Dark Knight.
We wouldn't have Deadpool. We wouldn't have, like, Logan. We wouldn't have those movies, so I'm so glad that it paved this path. I mean, it changed, maybe not single-handedly, but it had a hand in changing the Oscars.
Yeah. Oh, so, no, it had a direct impact. Not only, a lot of credit goes to this movie, and it should be, but also people tend to forget that WALL-E was another movie that was left out of the Best Picture race that year.
So and then, because of those two being left out.
Yeah, because of those two, like they expanded the field to 10. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road would not have been a Best Picture nominee if it weren't for the Dark Knight.
Right. Or win 8 Oscars.
Right.
Like, just, this movie has
It might have won some technical Oscars, but I don't think George Miller would have got Best Director, Best Picture, or anything like the above the mark awards. I think they would have got shut out if it wasn't for a movie like Dark Knight. Like you said, paving the way.
I know, and it's weird. I mean, there's a quote from the Joker in it where it's like, "You've changed things forever. There's no going back." And that's really what this movie has done. It's changed things forever when it comes to superheroes.
And another quote from the Joker, I think that's applicable when this movie came out to where it is now. It's like, it's not a monster. It's just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, exactly. So, is this, in your opinion? Well, I have two questions. This is a two-parter. Is this, in your opinion, the best superhero movie ever made?
No.
Oh, okay. Which one is?
The first Incredibles.
As
far as superhero,
yes,
I think The Incredibles is the best superhero movie ever made, because it's like you take the Fantastic Four characters, you kind of put them in the world of Watchmen, but you incorporate everything with comic book lore. It's kind of like the broad strokes. Like if you had no idea what comic book superheroes were, you didn't want to read the books, you just wanted to get in the movies, I'd say start with Incredibles, then work your way around to everything else. Like that's a good. I just think that everything that encompassed in the lore. Now, as far as a comic book movie, comic book adaptation, hands down the best.
Is it your favorite superhero movie, or is that just the same answer? The Incredibles is your favorite superhero movie?
No, I still think The Incredibles of a quality movie is better, but no, this is my favorite. Not only is this my favorite superhero movie, this is easily in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think that this is the best superhero movie ever made, personally. I think it is the greatest superhero movie ever made.
Is it also your favorite?
Yes, it is. It is my favorite superhero movie. There are some close seconds in there, Spider-Man 2 being one of them. It depends what you're looking for.
Logan's up there.
Logan's up there. Even the first Avengers is up there for me, or Iron Man. Like, there's a lot of great, it depends what you're looking for out of your movies. Like, if you're looking for like a happy-go-lucky time, I'm not going to tell you to watch The Dark Knight. No. Like, it is pretty dark, it's a downer. There's a lot of sadness to it, and there's a lot of depth to it. So if you're looking for a popcorn flick, it does serve as that. But if you're looking for something a little more light, I wouldn't go with The Dark Knight, but still, yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, I think that, not only all the things we've talked about, the storytelling, the acting, just technically, this movie's gorgeous. The score really drives this movie, and this movie, the final shot of this movie, is my favorite final shot in all of cinema.
Yeah.
Just like even that whole sequence when he's running from the cops and Gordon's talking to his son is just like, I think it just so perfectly encapsulates the character of Batman, who he is, why he is, and what he is to Gotham City.
Yeah, and how dense this movie is. This time around, I really paid attention to the timing of it and the points of it, where I'm just like it's at 50 minutes with the underground tunnel chase, and I'm like, you have another hour and a half of movie left, and there's so much that has happened already.
Yeah.
I love it for that. I love that we get 2 Joker intros. We get a super badass Joker intro at the bank scene, and then we get a super badass intro at the mob meeting.
Yeah,
you get 2 great intros that work just as effectively.
I think this movie has that heist scene is probably my favorite heist scene in any movie, and the underground chase is probably one of my favorite chase scenes in any movie.
Exactly.
Like that. I remember how pumped I was when last time I watched it. I just had that memory of the first time I saw it in the theater when he launches the bat pod out of the tumbler.
Yeah,
I was like, just blow. It was there the whole time,
and it rounds the corner and it's all spinning and everything. But
yeah, that whole sequence.
Once again, there's this, like, the trailer didn't even spoil anything for me. Even though you see the truck flip in the trailer, still in the theater, I was like, my heart stopped for it.
Yeah,
even though I knew it was gonna happen.
And there's a cool little story with that trailer flip, because when they're like conceptualizing it with all the stunt team and the special effects team, like the stunt coordinator's going through it, and he's like, yeah, the truck's gone, flip, computer guy, CGI guys will take care of that. And Christopher Nolan's like, no, the CGI guys will not take care of that, because we're doing that in real life. And the stunt coordinator told him, he's like, well, we don't know how to do that. And because I saw an interview with the stunt coordinator, he's like, Christopher Nolan looks at me and goes, well, figure it out.
Yeah.
So like they invented new stunt rigs.
And it shows on camera. Those things matter.
Yeah.
Like if that was CGI, it wouldn't have been nearly as effective.
No.
But that thing really flipped, and it really like made me, just sort of stop my breath, being like, oh, that really cool silent moment of the whole thing. So.
And I think that's more impressive, even though it's just a semi truck flipping over, doing it practically, in the real world in camera. I think that's more of a spectacle. Even then, like some of the even though there's a lot of big action scenes, swooping set pieces, like even something like Infinity War,
right?
Like when they're on Titan and Spider-Man's flying through. Like I was really excited. That was a spectacle. But like seeing that truck flip over, it's like, oh my god, they really did that.
Right. It's
I
really
just think
grounded.
that adds, it just adds to the spectacle of filmmaking, and just hats off to directors like Christopher Nolan who push practical effects as far as they can go, and only buffs.
So there are our thoughts on The Dark Knight. I mean, we know that this has been... People sing this movie's praises, and we always will. This is one of the greatest movie experiences. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what planet you're from, but you have to go see this movie.
Yes.
It is absolutely fantastic. See it on the biggest screen with the loudest speakers. It is... it's an influential movie.
Yeah, it's the tops. And we're going to keep these Diamond Anniversary reviews going. We're going to jump back to August of 2008. But we need your guys' help with this one.
Yep.
We're going to pick between Tropic Thunder and Pineapple Express. So if you go to our website, thecinemabufs.com, you can vote for it. And next month, the winner will come out, and we'll jump back to that movie. I mean, we really can't lose. These are both great movies.
I love both those movies.
But we want to know which one you guys want to see more. So go ahead to the website and vote. But no matter where you are, no matter who you're with,
watch more movies.